So I've got good news and I've got bad news. The good news is I'm wicked excited to be here. The bad news is I'm a Bostonian, which means two things for you. One, it's been a long week, those of you who are sports people. Secondly, when I talk about something that gets me really excited, I talk really, really fast. So unfortunately, you will hear a lot of that today. Those of you who know Wholly Guacamole, could you raise your hand for me? That's awesome. We are, it literally tears me up when I do that, because when we first started the company, it was a couple people, and then every time I go to somewhere, I always ask. We are a 4.5-year-old company. You know, when your kids are little and you ask them how old they are, and they say, oh, I'm 2.5 and 3.5. We're almost 4.5 years old as a brand. We changed our name. We're a 10 or a 15-year-old company, but we changed our name 5 years ago. And we had 40% share, about 4.5. We just had new market share numbers, and we're a little over 53% of the market. We just did a new brand survey, and unaided, 60% of the people named Wholly Guacamole first. So it's such an exciting time for us. And in August, a very big company, a little big company called Hormel, looked at us and said, you know what, we like what you're doing, and we're going to buy you. So 4.5, they didn't look at us before the brand. So 4.5 years, 4 years ago, we were nothing, and all of a sudden, somebody came in and said, we're going to buy you because we believe in what you're doing and we want to replicate what you're doing. So when Terry called and said, can you talk about innovation? I was like, oh my gosh, because innovation is who we are. It's what we do over at Wholly Guacamole. And we're a guacamole company. I mean, put your head around that. Today somebody was interviewing me today for a trade pub, and it was so funny because I said, we do guacamole. Like, that's what every day I get up and I think about avocados and salsa. That is such a great gig. And they pay me for it. And so, when you think about it, and I'm also a marketer's marketer. So today, this is not all about Wholly Guacamole, because I could talk about it all day long. But it's important to us, whether you sit in finance, and I think, Smelly said it the best. I mean, it's not just these guys that do it, right? It's not just marketing that's responsible for marketing and innovation, and it's not just finance, and it's everyone in the organization. And I am just one of those people that I love to look at what other brands are doing, because if it works well in the detergent aisle, by golly, it could work well for guacamole. And sometimes we don't think that. We think, well, we can't do that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, to end everything you've heard today about innovation, because innovation is what drives companies. It's what drives brands. And whether you're sitting here for B2B or whether you're sitting here for B2C, you can learn from any industry. So let's look a little bit about, which one? There we go. I'm a quote person. I love these quotes. I love who they're from, and I love what they say. Because Mr. Ford tells you that sometimes you have to give consumers what they need, and sometimes you have to give consumers what they want. And sometimes you have to know the difference. And Steve Jobs is famous for not looking at research, not looking at anything. And so you have to balance that, because there's not a lot of Steve Jobs sitting around in organizations. So you've got to balance what the consumer always wants. And I love Plan B. Innovation can come from Plan B. Very rarely does innovation come from Plan A. People don't start out, we're going to do innovation today. My boss the other day said, I think we should pay people on innovation. I said, awesome. I can't wait to see what that's all about. How do you mean you're going to pay people for innovation? People don't know what innovation is until we develop it. So I started to do the presentation. I said, oh, let's do some work. Let me look at kind of some things. And I came across this article, Brands That Won't Be Here in 2012. I said, well, that's a pretty positive way to start a presentation. Let's do that. And the reason is, they're obvious reasons, right? They're bankrupt, they're not doing well in sales, what are they doing? So then I looked at the list. Now, I'm not going to say that three companies on this list I worked for, because I figured my credibility would be gone before we even get started. Look at the list. I don't know about you, but Sony, Saab, I drove one. Sears, I interviewed for them for their VP of marketing job, and they had big vision. Where's the vision guy? They had big vision. They had too many people on the bus, and not enough people going around the bus. I gave 8.5 years to Nokia. It was the first place that I got to be part of this incredible, people thought we were a Japanese company. They did. Oh, we love Japanese people. No, that's not who we are. I got to be part of this incredible growth, and we built it, and we worked like crazy people. And then we forgot that little thing called the flip phone that, consumers thought would be big. And now, of course, we've got, and so then I got to go to every meeting and get beat up on the way down, and then they never really came back. When you look at this list, there's a couple things that really kind of struck me. I'm not really good in English today. I've had 2 beers. Okay, that's really innovation. Money's not the key driver to innovation, is it? Because look at that list. They had plenty of money. Nokia's coffee budget was bigger than probably a lot of budgets in this room for your marketing. So money's not an issue with innovation, right? Because all those companies had a lot of money. How many employees? How many times do you hear people, well, I don't have enough people to be innovative. Well, really? Those people, all those companies on there had plenty of people that could sit down and be innovation and drive innovation. Well, it's got to be industry. Well, no. You've got corn pops. You've got high tech, you've got low tech. So when we talk about innovation, we're not talking about you got to be everything for everybody. And you're not talking about money. And so when people in organizations say to me, oh, we can't be innovative, why? Why can't you be? And really, what is the definition of innovation when we talk about it? So I went to my friend, the Webster. I still have an old one at my desk. I don't like using the high-tech stuff. And my husband uses typewriters, but he's 107, so he should be doing that. But I'm young. I'm not really that young, but let me just tell you, there's nothing better than that, what you got when you got out of college. You got that list, man. So the introduction of something new. Okay, great. What do we do with that? And my answer is, as businesses, we add to that, it's got to meet an unmet need. It's got to tap into something consumers either know they know how to do and need it better, faster, smaller, whatever, or it's something they don't even know yet. And it's also going to drive base revenue. I hear so many people talk about innovation. That's going to save the company. That's bullshit. Excuse my language, my French. It's not going to save the company. What a real innovation will do will drive a category, will drive things that you're already doing. My sales guys, they want a Wholly Guacamole chip so bad they can taste it. They want a tortilla. And I always go back and say, how is it going to drive our base business? Because our base business is avocados. Is it really going to do that? And so I think sometimes we get caught up in that innovation is going to save the day, and innovation's huge and big, and it's not. I love brands. I could talk about brands all day long. Terry, you remember me in the Tide pen. I just want to meet the girl that invented it, because I know it was a girl. I know it was a girl, because it was brilliant. But the best part about the Tide pen isn't all of the brilliancy I could talk about all day long. It brought different people to Tide. Because the Tide target market was over 40. If your mom used it, you probably used it. But it brought 20-year-olds. It brought slobby IT guys who are eating at their desk all day long. It was a brilliant marketing strategy that took an unmet need. How many of us go out to lunch and wear our lunch? That was the simple little piece of information that developed the Tide pen. It was brilliant. The cereal folks are doing such a great job. Cereal now is not a breakfast food anymore. You're eating it all day long. So let's talk about some myths first about innovation. There is not a Department of Innovation. I don't know who thinks this. I don't know where they sit. Maybe they're down in the basement with the IT guys, Jim. But there's not a Department of Innovation because it's got to be cross-functional. And we have a rule at Wholly Guacamole. I don't care where the great idea comes from. I just care that we've got a great idea to execute on. So I don't care if it's a secretary. I don't care. Somebody came in one day and loved Biggest Loser. And I kind of said, oh, that's really cute, ma'am. And she kind of left, and I ignored it. And 6 months later, we did a deal with Biggest Loser. And we had the 3 best sales of our month that January, February, March. Because Biggest Loser was on people's minds. It was relevant. The cast, everything lined up for us. But I wouldn't have thought of Biggest Loser because I didn't watch the show. So it wasn't really in my, hey, how can we use this to help drive traffic? The other thing it did a lot for us is it helped people connect good fat versus bad fat. Because if you ask people about guacamole, the normal consumer will say, oh, that's fattening. Oh, it's not fattening, it's the good fat. I'm filled with the good fat, people, I know. I love the good fats. It is good fat for you. Myth number 2 is that real research can only make decisions, right? If it's not documented, this is a great example. I met with the Hormel people, and they said, can we see your brand stuff? I said, yes, here's our brand surveys. We've been doing them for 5 years. They said, really, how do you do this? I said, oh, through eSurvey. They said, really? I said, yeah, it costs $3,200. It's awesome. I get all this information. They said, we think you should do a real survey. I said, awesome. How much does a real survey cost? And it was $35,000. And I laughed because we did it, because I had to. And then we brought it back, and it said the exact same thing as my e-survey did. And so I think with social media and all the tools, I tell people that every day I go to work, and in my mind, I sit at my desk, and I open up this imaginary door, and there's research people. There's all my consumers are there. Because in the old days, right, we used to sit behind a glass. And every day now I get to sit behind a glass. Because if Tracey Altman thinks it, I can ask people what they think about it. Should we do a kid's product? Now, I don't say that, but I say, do your kids like our guacamole? And boom, 300 people tell me yes, no, or indifferent. My ad agency did an ad the other day, and I said, I don't really like it. I think it's this, it's that. I put it on Facebook. So the first call was, what are you doing? Put it on Facebook! I said, well, let's test it with the... Well, they don't know what they want. I mean, I don't think that's a really good idea. I said, actually, it's a brilliant idea because the target market that's buying my product is on there. Now, do I do everything by what they say on Facebook? No. But it's an opportunity for us, whether you're marketing or IT. I make bets with people all day long. My boss will come in with a crazy idea, and I'll say, let's test that on Facebook. And now people are like, oh, let me think about that idea and come back and talk to you. So no longer is it my idea, your idea, but we have a mechanism now that we can talk to the people that buy our products or our potential. I had somebody call the other day and say, hey, we sell furniture, and we heard that you guys will do anything, which we will because we love having fun. We have 300,000 fans. They said, would you mind testing something on your site for us, like a survey, and we'll do something for you? I said, absolutely. Why wouldn't we do that? Our target audience is your target audience. So don't let people kind of say, oh, social media is over here and research is over there. Research has to drive it, and I'm a big believer in research, but I'm also a big believer in insights. Because you can have research all day long and get, like Hormel's got like this much. Like they kind of bring it out in a little platform, and they still do paper. Everything there's paper. It's awesome. Like how many trees are we killing in Minnesota? That's why they're so cold. There's no trees around to keep them all warm. All these things, and then nobody's cross-referencing it. So I said, well, if you look at the Nielsen data and you look at our e-survey, and now you look at our market share, here's a different story. And even the people at Hormel are like, well, we don't typically mix those. So why don't we? I'm not a brain surgeon, I'm not a research gal at all, but we've learned to look at things differently, and sometimes you have to do that. Innovation has to be big, 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 big. It doesn't. It's a tilt. It's people need to get something off of their chest before they go into their meeting, because what could we do? People don't like it when they put detergent on their hands. And I even read something where somebody in that, I think it was Clark, said the parents didn't want the kids to load the dishwasher because they were afraid, because kids, they'll put it in, they'll get it on their hands, and they might eat it. And that was part of now what you see, which is the capsules. And I thought, oh my gosh, they didn't have to change the product. The product's the exact same Clorox, or whatever the detergent was, a Cascade, but they had to encapsulate it. But they didn't have to change anything operationally. And it was a brilliant move. And so sometimes it's about tilting. So if you say to people, okay, people, we're going to be innovation, so everybody come up with their ideas by Friday at 5, that doesn't help anybody, because it's overwhelming. It's too big. And innovation must be something new. I'm all about old. We're going to come out with a kid's product. Don't tell anybody, it's a secret. So if anybody's here from Calavo, and we're using the exact same product. But what am I changing? The packaging. I'm going to put a kid on it, and he's going to be happy. And mom's going to be happy, and it's going to sell. And I'm going to look so freaking smart. And who loves me the most in my organization? Operations. Oh, they bring flowers to my door because they're like, what kind of products are going to be? I'm like, it's going to be the existing one, because kids are already eating it. We know that from Facebook, and we know that from other things that we've been looking at. So, it's about the whole organization building together to get something done, and it doesn't always have to be this new great idea. Even worse, coming up with an idea that's nowhere near your portfolio. Chips and tortillas are close, but what else it can fit in the portfolio? And sometimes we're like, well, let's come up with something new. It's like, why? Why do we need new? We need better. We need what's going to make the consumer jump up and down for what you have. Again, whether you're B2B or B2C, what makes that person buy your product versus somebody else's? And for the record, innovation does not only come from the marketing department. And I've known some really, really smart IT people. I'm sorry, Mr. CEO, I don't know if that comes from you guys, but only kidding. But innovation comes from, I don't know if innovation comes from up there or not, but I do know that it comes from every organization, that's every section of a job that's in the organization has it. But I think we sometimes overlook that. What does the finance person know about me? Well, in my organization, everybody's a mom. Everybody's pretty much my target audience. So if they don't like something, I know that I've got to rethink it. When you look at innovation, I look at it from really the typical 4 Ps. And while, again, we talk about it not being a marketing platform, we can't ignore tools that are already out there. Innovation, to me, is not brain surgery. It's very, very simple in terms of at least identifying what we need. So let's look at pricing. When I was at Nokia, AT&T called us and said, hey, we're going to launch this all-you-can-eat business plan called One Rate. And I remember all of the Nokia people go, oh, that's AT&T's going down. Like, they're really going to go down this time. And because why would you do that? Why would you do all you can eat? And then they said, we'd like to use the Nokia phone as part of it. It's how we launched 6100. And it became just such a change in our life in terms of who we were as an organization. It totally revolutionized the way that people bought phones even today. And I think the brilliant part of it was they wanted to capture business people. And at the time, dating myself, there was no data. It was just phone calls then. And it was finally a good size. It wasn't the bag that you put in your car. It was the little one. But it was brilliant. Massage Envy has done a great job making massages affordable for everybody. So I used to get one once every 2 months because my back's always in pain, and for $100. Well, now I get one every month, and I get like an hour and a half for $60. So they've totally changed the market. Now, with that has ramifications. But if you look at your business, are you pricing the right way? Is there something crazy you can do? McDonald's, I always say McDonald's was the pioneer of bundling. And did they lose anything from it? Absolutely not. They gained it. So when you look at your business, is there a way for you to bundle it differently? We're not saying give things away, but we're certainly saying let's look as if there's a way to get a certain target audience, what margin are we willing to give up a little to get them in? Wholly Guacamole, my #1 issue is people go, how can it be good a bag in a box? It is my #1 that barrier that stands in the way between me and the consumer. So I coupon a lot. Hormel does not coupon a lot. Because, they're selling chili for $1 and, some other products, so pepperoni and stuff. And they're like, why do you do so much couponing? I'm like, it's okay. Because once I get it in their mouth, they will come back. And I know this because of where we are in our market share. I know this because in my Nielsen data, I've got, 20,000 people buying it 2 times a week. So how can you look at pricing a little different? Get the finance people involved. Have some fun with it. Is there models we can look at that are different, that's innovative for your marketplace? And this alone can revolutionize. Is it big? Could be. Could it be small? Could be. Am I still talking too fast? No? Okay. I love promotion. Terry knows this about me. Terry hates promotions, just for the record. She doesn't hate promotions, but she's very, I think that promotions are very strategic. And I don't think just because you do this that you're not necessarily strategic once everybody knows what the goal is. I consider it dating the popular quarterback. When we started with Wholly, I called everybody. I begged people, and I would pay to be with them in FSIs. Please, Frito, please be in it. I'll pay for everything. I wanted to stand next to the popular guy, because when I'm standing next to somebody good looking, I look better. There's just something about it. I look thinner, I look taller, and I look better looking. I don't know what it's about. But when we do that as brand, I was looking at brands that were bigger and better looking. And I said, I want to stand next to those brands. We do a program with Kellogg every year. And every year it comes out and I tear up because I'm like we're little old Wholly Guacamole. And they're Kellogg. But the fact is, their target audience is my target audience. So I'm standing next to them and I'm getting this awesome backdraft of people, well, why don't I use that product? And it's not a hard thing to do. I think Quaker Oats has been, boring, sleep. They've been so asleep for the last couple of years. And oatmeal's been boring. So what happens to oatmeal the last 18 months? It's chic. You can buy it for like $17 at Starbucks. You can buy it at McDonald's. And all of a sudden, it's chic. So what does Quaker do? They go out and get a guy, a spokesperson that makes a lot of sense for them. They spent a lot of money on that guy, just FYI. But it made a lot of sense to make them hip and relevant, because what McDonald's and Starbucks did was they started to drive this on the go eating, healthy eating. I don't know how healthy theirs is, but they really did a good job. I thought Quaker did an excellent job coming back. Harry Potter. Oh my gosh, my son and I read the whole series in 1 year together. If you are parents and you have kids at that age, do it. It is the most awesome experience to sit with your child and watch him get so excited about things you don't understand. And then I would forget something. He'd go, Mom, Hagrid is he's a monster. I'm like, I'm sorry, I thought Hagrid was the husband of the guy, and it wasn't Mom's kind of book. But they revolutionized the way that kids love to read. I mean, you can. I don't know much about the woman, only what I've read. But when I read those books, she was brilliant. She had some gift in her, whether it was her or somebody else, whatever the rumor is. She made it exciting. So is your industry boring? Do you have to be oatmeal? No, you don't. If your consumer wants something more from you, can you do it? My new favorite people are the Carrot People. The article in, if you don't read, one of my favorite magazines is, I just read a great article in there. I'll think about it in a minute. The Carrot People. Got to do carrots. We got to get better. They hire a new CEO. They bring in 3 agencies. Help us be better at carrots. First agency comes in. Here's what we got. We're going to see a mother and a child, and they're all going to be happy. Eat carrots. They're like, yeah, you can go. Second agency, teenagers sitting around talking, texting, eating carrots. Yeah, okay, now you can go. Third agency. I think we should make it a junk food. The CEO says, what? And his whole team goes, oh, we're getting rid of them. And he goes, wait. What do you mean? Well, kids like junk food. So why can't we make carrots a junk food? I mean, think about that. I want to meet those people. I want to meet those people because they're so smart. Because they took a very little thing and they turned it to a very big thing. And in the market last year, they launched it. I don't know how they're doing. But the article I have on my board at work, because it was such a brilliant way to turn carrots. Nobody markets carrots. There's not even a brand name to carrots if you go into the store. But here he is. Look at him. They've got like a little thing on it. It says the ultimate junk food. I mean, it was just a brilliant way to really turn something around. And it didn't cost a lot of money. They didn't have to change the carrots. The carrots don't have heads on them or look like Doritos or anything like that. but it's a carrot business. Special K, I just have such a respect for the people at Kellogg's. They know what they're doing. They've done a great job. And I think one of the things is turning it into this ultimate diet food, but then making it part of a challenge. Eat it every day. Oh, shit. I think we should do that for guacamole, because I bet sales would go up if people ate it every day. I mean, but we laugh, but is it not brilliant? Who could have convinced consumers to eat, 2 bowls of cereal a day? It's mind-boggling to me, but they did it, and it's true, and it's just a great example of the power of, stopping and thinking and being with your consumer, knowing your consumer. Again, whether you're B2B or B2C. This is my absolute favorite topic is packaging, because I think it really is underappreciated. When I first went out to Hormel, I met with some of their brand managers, and I said, we change our packaging once a quarter. And the whole room went silent. And this little bitty lady in the back said, I'm from the packaging department here at Hormel, and we buy our packaging 2 years in advance. I was like, oh, thank you, ma'am. We'll never be buying packaging from you. And I thought, oh my gosh, because once a quarter, I have a different message on my box. Why? Because I'm in a section where people are reaching over me to go to Marzetti's or Lighthouse or Bagged Salads, who sell a lot more than I do. And I have to catch that consumer because I have 3 seconds. So 1 month we had Biggest Loser, and my sales were up, 32%. Oh, that's right, 32%. Then we put Lion King on. Now what the hell does Lion King have to do with guacamole? Nothing. But Mom and her family can watch Lion King while they have guacamole. So I was targeting Mom with that, and our sales went up 25% in those 2 months last month. It also happened that the movie came out at the same time, so we really benefited from that. So, I got to change that because my box is all I have. I don't have a big budget. It's all I have. So when you're looking at it, I think the secondary usage, I think the Kleenex people, my husband sometimes will come home without Kleenex. I'll be like, where's the Kleenex? He's like, they didn't have blue. Like, what? What? Like they're out of Kroger's out of Kleenex. No, but they didn't have the blue box that matches the thing in the living room. Oh my God, sometimes why are we married? But you know what? Somebody saw an insight. Think about it. When I was a kid, we didn't have all this. We didn't have Valentine's boxes and Christmas boxes and Hanukkah. We didn't have any of that. But it was brilliant because people want. It's not just it's not really about the things. Tissues, thank you. Sounds like. It's a decoration. It sits in my kitchen, and I just want to meet the person the day that just dawned on somebody. It's a decoration. Why aren't we using the box? We're printing millions of them. Wholly Guacamole. When I was with Terry's firm, I hired, just for the record, I hired Terry at Nokia, and then she hired me at Latimark, and she gave me this incredible assignment with these crazy people in Fort Worth. It's a guacamole company. And to be part of an organization that got to build the brand, name the brand, and build it, and then sell it, is something I will be forever grateful for her. Because as a marketer, there is no better thing than to grow. You know, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I am an entrepreneur. Like, I could totally get it, because this is my baby. I hold it very, very dear and personal. We actually developed this idea with them when Terry and I were working on the account. And it was a time when 100-calorie packs weren't out yet. And then that industry started. I mean, we were strategically at the right time. All the data said people were snacking more. But it totally changed our business. It's the number 3 SKU I have of 12. And it will shortly eclipse number 2, which is my spicy. So I have classic, spicy, and we almost are there. And next month, we will be a $100 million brand. A $100 million brand next month. So it's impressive. It's impressive because it's just of the process. It's not because of me. It's a big team of people that manage this. But it's impressive to think it's guacamole. So I have to remind myself, you know, like, I don't know how the resume is going to look when I'm done. Like, you know, going into another company. It's like, what did you do? Oh, I grew guacamole sales. StarKist, I mean, do they have to change what's in that package? No, they did not. But somebody finally said, I can't take a can to work. I'm not sure how long, that's all men I think were in that organization. How long did it take somebody to say we don't need it? Because this is relatively new. It's about 5 years old with bags, I think. So I was working with somebody from Chicken of the Sea, and they were just hysterical. You know, and now they've got like a Thai one and a lemon pepper one, and so really did a good job targeting their audience. And I talked about Cascade a little before. The ketchup people are my nemesis. They're who I target because they've done just an incredibly good job taking a staid commodity brand and doing great things with it. This is the latest thing right here. I'm trying to rip it off. I'm being very honest. It's patented, but I don't care because it's brilliant. So what did they do? So what do people do with ketchup? They either dip it or they spread it. What do they do with guacamole? They either dip it or they spread it on a sandwich. So to have a vessel to do that with is brilliant. Oh yeah, what's the other brilliant thing? Oh yeah, it's the same freaking product, so operations is happy. Oh, but wait, there's more. Walmart's psyched because guess what? 3 packets fit into one of these. So now we can say, oh, we're saving the earth and we're not doing things with ketchup. So look at everything, look at all the things that hit. Well, those of you who sell to Walmart, you know that's their big initiative these days is, you know, the earth. I'm not gonna be here, so I'm just gonna keep selling my guacamole. I'm not as green as I should be, no pun intended there. But I mean, I think it's so exciting to see companies like this do things like this. So again, packaging, how do you package it? A quick IT story, I got a new Mac the other day, and the IT guy who has zip personality in our organization, and he's not as wonderful as you are, Jim, and he's kind of gruff, and he brings it in, it's a box, and he puts it on the desk, and he can put it on my conference table. I said, all right, well, chop, like, you gonna do stuff? Because I gotta go do stuff, and I'm like, kind of in my own world, probably do an email, Jim. Never gonna do it once a day, just FYI. And your partner, never gonna work for Tracey Altman, just FYI. Yeah, tell her guacamole's not her future, because once a day would not work with me. And he opens up the box. And it's like this, I mean, Javier totally changed his personality. He opens it up, and then he removes it. And I'm watching this, and I said, Javier, what's wrong? He said, did you notice there's no paper? there's nothing. There's just this clean thing that you pick up, and there's the product. And I thought, how funny that an IT guy is having this brand engagement right now. And he lifts it up like it's a baby. He lifts it up, and he puts it down. And then there's nothing. I said, well, where's all the cords? Like, I'm looking at the box. I'm like, where's all his weight? And then there's a secret little compartment you open up, and it's got all the cords. And another secret compartment's got the user guide. And I thought, you know what? Yay, you, Apple. Because it would have been easy to package a B2B product differently than a B2C product, right? If your guy goes and buys 5. But they have this, wow, like, you could just tell he was a hat. He goes, you know, when the HPs come in, there's shit in it, and there's crap out, and there's package, and oh my God, there's all this, and what is it? Oh, he hates all, like, the inserts, right? I love inserts, because I'm marketing, right? He's like, oh, I hate the inserts, and I hate the plastic. And I just sat there and said, wow, like, damn you, Apple, you're good at so many things, but look at you turn that B2B, that yucky, it's your problem, it's the user error guy, into, that's what he says to me when I call, into this amazing experience. So don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you can't put plastic on something. Don't tell me that when you send out manuals, they've got to be this big and not with this, just don't tell me you can't do that. And of course, everyone always goes to the product. It's the first thing we think of. Well, how can we either get a new product or how can we do our old product? And nothing here is revolutionary. I will tell you that I watch Kellogg's a lot because I think they've done a good job taking the same product, cereal, and putting, like, they didn't make their bars out of rice. You know, they didn't make their bars out of granola. Oh, they do have granola bars. But they didn't make them out of something that they didn't already have. So they already had ingredients, and now they're in the chip aisle, they're in the cracker aisle, and they're in the cereal aisle. That, my friend, is marketing. And some of this is the same, you know, the operations people are probably happy because the berries that they're using in the cereal, the same berries that they're using in the, and the operations people are people we have to think about because they make my life miserable. No, you know what? Good operation, if you do not have a good relationship with your operations people, buy them coffee, buy them dessert, bring them out to lunch. Because great operations people with great marketing people can do great things. And my guy, when I walk in there and go, I have an idea for the box, and sometimes he goes, okay. And sometimes he goes, come in, and sometimes he goes, I know I'm going to hate this, but I know I have to hear it. And I think that's the difference between where we were able to go and when you see some new packaging coming out in about 6 months. It's really exciting that he had all the reasons to say no to me, but he didn't because the research said this is what the consumer wants, and he's a big believer in the consumer. Cheerios. You know, this is not breakfast anymore. They were sampling this Del Luce. I don't know if it's even up there. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But nobody's eating that for breakfast. Well, maybe some people are, but I brought it to work because that's my 3 o'clock snack. So the chocolate one, all right, my son, you know, it's like, oh, I don't want him to have, you know, Cocoa Puffs. Well, he can have this one. It tastes really, really good, and it's multi-grain. They have done, but I'm trying to be a good mother, people. It's hard. Hush up. But to frosted banana, I mean, look at all of the stuff that Cheerios has done. So don't sit there and tell me that whatever industry you're in, you can't make some of these types of changes. I don't think this is brain surgery, but I think somebody is doing a great job with vision and then with execution. Because a lot of things, the vision gets lost with the strategy, and then the strategy gets lost with the execution. And even worse when execution drives what's going on in strategy, and that's something we now cut off. Like when the sales guy comes, hey, I just met with a guy and he'd love a bean dip. And I just keep walking. That's great, Jay, good. And before, Steve would say, we gotta make a bean dip. And nothing to do with our strategy, nothing to do with our vision. So I think a lot of the things you heard today really come down to innovation. Where are we doing it? What is the vision? How do we meet that? So some quick ideas. Use your vendors. I don't know why people are afraid of vendors. They're free. And I don't abuse them, but they know I'm going to call on them 4 times a year. And they know that when we did this child's package, I said, come in with your most crazy, out-of-the-box thoughts of how we need to package this to get consumers to pick it up. Because it's probably going to sit in a different place in the produce section. Use your vendors. They're wonderful people. If you have people under you that don't know how to manage vendors or are scared if their vendors are smarter than they are, either get rid of those people or work with those vendors directly to yourself. Because vendors are so under their partners, I wouldn't do anything without them. Have an idea review committee. You know, have people, the 3M has the best thing. Everybody knows the 3M story, right? So develop something, come up with a business plan. If you get it, they give you your own group to work on it. We wouldn't have stickies without Mac. Isn't the guy's, I think the guy's name is Mac something, Mac Thompson. I love Mac Thompson because I use stickies all day long. But he came up with that during working on something totally separate, and 3M said, let's put you in another department and let's grow this idea. Please listen to your consumers, whether it's B2B or B2C, and don't just listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're not saying. And it really does, it is an art to be able to make sure that you know who your consumer is. You know, I tell people all the time to put a cutout of your consumer in your conference rooms, bring them to meetings, name them, and you laugh, but I'll tell you what's great about it is when someone comes up with a stupid idea, I go, is Peggy gonna buy that? And all of a sudden, they're thinking about Peggy, because Peggy's, the cardboard cutout of Peggy is sitting there. Peggy's got, you know, she's got to do her dishes, she's really gonna have time to open that box and do this and do that. And so, you know, reminding everyone in the organization who your target audience is, whether it's finance, whether it's R&D, whether it's operations, it gets people all thinking in the right area of what we're trying to do. Basics. I'm a basic girl. I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not the smartest person. I'm certainly not as smart as those three speakers before me. I was getting a little nervous. I'm glad we had wine in the middle. Like, whoa, you're not going to see any of that from me. But I believe that the basics can bring us big returns. And at the end of the day, each one of us, no matter what department you work on, we're all responsible for revenue. We're all responsible for margin, whether we have that direct line or whether we don't have that direct line. So, money's not it. So the next time somebody in your organization complains, says, we don't have enough money to be innovative, out the door you go. Oh, we need more people. No, we need the right people, right? That's the second speaker. Right people with the right skills in the seat on the right bus. Industry, any industry can be it. If you're sitting here, you sell insurance, then you go look up Kellogg. You get familiar with what's going on in the consumer industry. If you're here in consumer, if you're sitting in a different section, I always look. I'm always in the chip aisle. My husband doesn't go grocery shopping with me anymore because I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Did you see this? And then a consumer will pick it up. I'm like, why did you just pick up that box, ma'am? And Kroger asked me to stop doing that. So I can't do it as much anymore. But it's still important. I do give out coupons at the grocery store. Innovation's not a department. Everybody owns it. It doesn't have to be huge. And again, just remember that greatness comes from within the organization. And it comes from all parts of the organization. And the last thing I just wanted to say is I wanted to thank the AMS people because we shot 2 videos here. And if you're looking for a place, they worked with us within our budget. The people were great. Everyone from the minute we walked in to somebody giving me a code for something. I couldn't get on my web, to just making sure that the shoot went really well. So it's a great place, and they didn't ask me to do that plug, but I was like, I know this place. When I pulled up, I was like, I know this place. So thank you very much.